Hi, today Weezer and I are in the beautiful town of San Dimas at the Puddingstone Dam. And we're here today to talk about a few of San Dimas's famous attractions, one in particular. No, I'm not talking about raging waters. And no, I'm not talking about Puddingstone Lake. What I'm talking about is under Puddingstone Lake. 55 feet under Puddingstone Lake. Come on and join me.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
The attractions I'm talking about are Crazy Quilt Rocks, Ramshorn Chute, Tight Squeeze Pass, and of course Puddingstone Falls. Never heard of them? Well, up until 1928, they were right here under all this water, and they were central characters in one of the biggest building projects to hit Mud Springs, San Dimas, in years. Before Santa Fe Railroad built a line through this area, it was known as Mud Springs because of the difficulty it posed to travelers between Los Angeles and San Bernardino. Where most of the trail was hard-packed dirt, Mud Springs presented miles and miles of swampy, sticky, forbidding mud. Santa Fe chose a route along the foothills to minimize the amount of mud they had to deal with. Cashing in on the land rush of 1885, as they progressed, they built swanky hotels every few miles in anticipation of swarms of land buyers with deep pockets. In order to claim theirs, Mud Springs had to change its pedestrian name to something a bit more worldly. It is rumored that because the nearby canyons were a great place for horse thieves to hide their stolen booty, the town got its name from Saint Dimas, the repentant thief who was crucified with Jesus. The real source of the name was less romantic. It is the name of the town in Mexico where the Palomares family hailed from. Before some of these grand hotels could even be furnished, the land rush was over and the railroad was stuck with them. In Claremont, the hotel was given to Pomona College. Here in San Dimas, the hotel was sold to the Walker family. It's now a historic building and it's rumored to be haunted. But I digress. Southwest of town was a deep gorge carved by the San Jose River, and at the bottom was an absolutely beautiful 30-foot waterfall the locals called Puddingstone Falls. The earliest mention of Puddingstone Falls came in 1888 from the Los Angeles Herald newspaper. It described a wild, rugged, deep gorge broken through massive ledges of Paleozoic rocks. People came from miles around to hike the trails, climb the rugged formations, and picnic and swim in the refreshing pools. There were even church-organized summer evening hay rides to the falls. The owner of approximately 600 acres, which included the gorge and the falls, was Charles H. Cannon, who had purchased the land from the Palomares family. The wild and picturesque land was mostly a gift for his wife Sybil, who loved nature and the outdoors. But when she committed adultery with her doctor, Cannon decided he wanted to sell off all of the property. To illustrate just how large 600 acres is, here's where I was standing at the beginning of the video. Puddingstone Lake is just over 200 acres, so this is about the size of the land parcel. The locals knew of the highly publicized scandal and of the impending sale, So of course they hoped the new owner would keep the trails maintained and the attractions accessible. It was about this time a new gentleman was seen around town, inquiring about lodgings, restaurants, things like that. He was certainly out of place, and his clothing, accent, and mannerisms hinted at Russian aristocracy. He was introduced as Dr. Orloff Orlow, art dealer and trader in rare antiquities, founder of the Brotherhood of Divine Humanity of India, and currently providing 3,800 acres of Chino land for a new farm for Chicago's homeless children. When he was seen several times near the falls with Mr. Cannon, pointing and waving his arms, the townsfolk guessed he was a prospective buyer of the gorge and the falls. Indeed, on March 3, 1908, the Los Angeles Times reported that Dr. Orlow had negotiated a price for 150 acres, and soon after, another 400 acres of land, which contained Puddingstone Gorge, of which he would pay a retainer now to seal the deal, and upon his return from his art buying trip throughout Europe in a few months, he would pay the balance. But that was not all. Orlow announced that not only would he clean up the falls and trails and add picnic facilities and stables for the hay rides, he was going to build a palatial residence which would rival Smiley Manor in Redlands, alongside a magnificent new tuberculosis sanitarium. To bring all the wealthy patients and their entourages to the facility and lots of money into the coffers of the local businesses, he struck a deal with Pacific Electric Railroad to extend a trolley line from nearby Covina to the sanitarium, requiring 3 large bridges which he would finance and the steel for which he would secure while overseas. Soon after his departure, after praising the good Count Orlow and his grandiose plans to put San Dimas on the map, the newspaper announced a town meeting and invited all interested parties to attend. The meeting was electric. All the business owners and influential people in San Dimas were assembled along with prominent citizens from nearby towns. Roads would need to be built. New gas street lamps would need to be installed immediately. The shop owners all agreed to extend credit for the expansion of the town. A second meeting was held to coincide with the good doctor's return, but it seemed his business interests had kept him longer than planned. However, the exact location of the bridge was needed to plan the new roads, so a priority telegram was dispatched to Pacific Electric. The answer came back: they'd never heard of the trolley line or of Dr. Orlow. Perhaps he meant the railroad, so another telegram went out to Santa Fe. The answer came back: we don't do trolleys. Another meeting was hastily called, and this time it took a much more somber tone. Amongst the chatter from the back of the room, a rug merchant from Pasadena stood up and said Dr. Orlow had arranged to have an art exhibition, secured a local gallery, picked up 9 of his finest Oriental rugs, which were to be sold at the show on consignment. But the show never materialized, and he was here to pick up his rugs. At that point, chaos ensued. In the days that followed, the town struggled to be normal again. Everybody wondered when the doctor would return. When would the town's expansion begin? When would the road to Puddingstone Falls be started? But the Los Angeles Express of July 30th, 1908 gave them their answer. The headline read, Dr. Orlow arrested on embezzlement charge. At his trial, all of his creditors assembled in the courtroom seeking restitution, including many older women. His manservant, Thomas Collusion, sued him for unpaid wages amounting to $150. In addition, he told the court it was his job to find older, rich widows, introduce them to Dr. Orlow, where Orlow would first seduce them, then blackmail them out of their savings. Additionally, Cannon and many of the prominent citizens revealed that they gave Orlow cash payments to grease the wheels in Europe if needed. The city fathers admitted they also donated to Orlow. In the end, Orlow strolled out of town $25,000 richer. The new stables, the sanitarium, the mansion, the trolley lines, the homeless boys' farm, everything was just a lie. With more theatrics, Orlow collapsed in the courtroom, hoping for a delay, but his trial was moved to his very modest Los Angeles home, where from his bed, Orlow stubbornly insisted he was a member of the Royal Habsburg family and beyond reproach. In 1910, Cannon finally found a legitimate buyer for all of the property. Howard Huntington, son of the railway tycoon Henry Huntington and his wife Annabelle, who together built Huntington Library and Gardens in San Marino, bought it all for an undisclosed amount, and Cannon moved away. The June 8, 1908 edition of the Pomona Review concluded, "He is as bogus a millionaire as ever smoked dope." What the hell does that mean? Anyway, San Dimas went from a dusty whistle stop to a high society landmark and back into the mud, all within 5 months. Eventually, it was all settled in bankruptcy court. For a number of years after his trial, Orlow continued to extort payments from Cannon to the tune of $8,000. When a Times reporter asked Cannon about it, Cannon smiled slyly and replied, "My good sir, that money was not extorted. It was a gift to a member of the great Habsburg family." The not-so-good doctor passed away quietly in 1924 of tuberculosis. Although no improvements were made, the gorge and the falls remained a popular spot for a picnic and a swim on a hot summer day. In 1921, the Army Corps of Engineers found the narrow, deep gorge to be a perfect place for a dam and reservoir. And in 1928, San Dimas said goodbye to Puddingstone Falls. In a final twist of irony, in 1911, Pacific Electric Railroad built a station in San Dimas, using a route which almost perfectly matched the one proposed by Orland 2 years earlier, including a spur line to the San Dimas rock quarry.
And somewhere in a neighborhood near Puddingstone Lake is Cannon Avenue, as a reminder to the scandals that happened in the past. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. And if you like my little videos, please consider subscribing to my channel, like, comment, and share. It does me a world of good. And always remember, my site is always free. Again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want